Any other questions about the Electoral College? Other questions? No? We good? Vid?
I just have like a random question.
Yep. I like random questions. 12.
It's a random answer.
Well, if you don't agree with like the Republicans or Democrats and what they're saying, could you go against their decisions and just not choose?
Yeah. Yeah, you can choose. There's other people on the list. There's other people on the election.
So you could elect someone
That's.
else.
I mean, what's an argument that I didn't even put it? What's one argument against the Electoral College?
Ooh.
Really, only 1 or 2 people are going to win. Think about it. We have a country of 313 million. In reality, how many people have a chance to be president? Or how many people are we choosing from for president? We're really choosing from 2. All right. Some people don't like. What's the biggest argument against the Electoral College?
It's happy to elect without a majority.
What's that, Danny?
They already have enough info to make
We don't need it. We got enough info. Also, you can win the election, but more people can vote for somebody else. Is that democratic? Is that the majority rules? No. You can win without a majority vote. And there's in 25 states, the electors don't have to vote for the people. Because you can have under 50% of the popular vote. So more, in other words, more people in this country could want somebody else to be president, and you can still be president. And some people don't like that.
But how?
Because of the Electoral College, you can win enough electoral votes to win. Remember, how many states can add up to 270 votes?
15.
11 states. All right. Some people think that's stupid. This guy right here, he won the presidential election in 1860. His name was not on the ballot in any of the southern states. Nobody voted for him. When I mean nobody voted for him in the 7 states that seceded, nobody voted for him because his name wasn't on the ballot. Yet he still became president. What did how did the South feel about that? Enough to start their own country, which led to the Civil War. The Electoral College, you could say, caused the Civil War. Okay, Veda?
So, what are the ways you can win a presidency then? So, like, the majority?
Majority of the electoral vote. That's the only way. Unless nobody gets a majority, then it goes to the House of Representatives.
Oh.
Chris?
This is also kind of a random question, but can the president veto a bill?
Oh yeah, that's the only person who can veto a bill. So let's get to that. How does a bill become a law? Who can come up with the ideas for laws? Who can propose laws?
Congress.
Only members of Congress. Does it go through one house or both houses?
Both.
It's got to go through both houses. All right. Once it goes through both houses, it's got to be the same. If it's not the same, it goes back and they make it the same. Then it goes to the president. What can the president do?
Veto.
Sign it.
Or
Becomes a law. Veto it.
Goes back to
Congress. What can Congress do?
Oh, I know.
If 2/3
Override the veto with
2/3 of a
two-thirds vote. All right. The veto and the overriding the veto are examples of checks and balances.
Does the vice president have any say on if a bill becomes law?
Absolutely nothing. The vice president can come up with an idea, can't propose it, even though he's president of the Senate. The only time that he can, president means to preside, so he can't propose a law. The only time he can do anything in the Senate is if they're tied. So, I guess if they were tied in a vote about a law, then he could break the tie. But other than that, he does nothing. Who determines the job of the vice president?
The president.
President. Okay. By the way, do most bills become law?
Yes.
No.
No. 2 to 3%. Most of them die in committee. I'm just a bill.
I love
If you find, maybe if I can remember, put it up. If you watch I'm Just a Bill again, you'll be good.
so sad.
The judicial branch, established in what article?
30.
Jurisdiction of federal courts. What kind of cases can they hear? Anything dealing with
Constitution.
the Constitution and any federal law. And you break it, it's a federal crime. Disputes between who?
States. States.
Disputes
between people of different states.
And disputes involving the
ICs.
and
Disputes dealing with ambassadors and
foreign governments. Okay? Usually, courts start at the district courts. Every state has one. Wisconsin has 2. That's where court cases start. Then it would go to the appeals court, or they have circuit courts. Those were those things right over here. I still have them up on the wall. There's one in Chicago. From there, it could go to the big dogs, the Supreme Court. These courts all have judicial review. They can look at a law or look at an action and determine if it is constitutional. It's an example of checks and balances. In 1986, the Supreme Court said that a law saying you can't burn the flag was unconstitutional in Texas. Therefore, that law is unconstitutional in Texas, and it's unconstitutional everywhere in the United States. So there is no, their decision has the effect of law. How can that decision be overturned?
Another state said something else.
No, not another state. Remember, Supreme Court's here. Who's above the Supreme Court?
No.
There's only one thing above the Supreme Court. No,
Congress.
no.
The Senate.
There's only one thing above the Supreme Court.
Constitution.
The Constitution. So the Supreme Court could change their mind, or
The Constitution could say it's not.
how they could make an amendment to the Constitution. And what has been proposed every year since that? No, an amendment to make burning the flag against the Constitution. It's never made it to the states, though.
Is there a big law here that's not a law in some other state?
In Wisconsin?
Yeah. Or do they all kind of apply?
You know, the big laws in states that are kind of very different, the biggest one would be Nevada, is
Nevada.
gambling. Casino gambling is legal all over Nevada. All right. Another example might be some states don't have income tax. State income tax. I pay federal income tax to Washington, D.C. I pay state income tax to Wisconsin. Florida.
Arizona. Right?
Why does
I don't know about Arizona. Florida, definitely. Why do you think so many athletes spend their off seasons in Florida?
Why doesn't
Less
Minnesota
tax.
have pay for their-
They don't pay state income tax. So like LeBron James, when he played for the Miami Heat, what's that? He took his talents to South Beach, right? Nobody even said this though, but yeah, he took his talents to South Beach, and he didn't have to pay state income tax.
What about death penalty?
Death penalty is a good example. Actually, I think Wisconsin's in the minority when it comes to death penalty. I think there are 30 plus states that have the death penalty. You can look it up.
We have it.
I
We
know
do not
have
have the
Why
death
don't
penalty.
you have to pay for the tax for some things in Minnesota?
For what? Sales tax?
Yeah.
You don't have to pay sales tax for some things in Wisconsin.
Like
If it says if a gallon of milk is $2.99, how much is it going to cost me?
More
Two-
than $2.
No, $2.99. It is non-taxable. All right, milk is non-taxable. Groceries are non-taxable. What is going to be taxable? I'm pretty sure my box of cookies.
Really?
Yeah. Milk, no. Fruit, no. Steak, no.
'Cause they're
Chicken,
produced?
no. Beer, yes. Wine, yes. I'm pretty sure soda, yes.
Eggs.
cigarettes.
Cheese, no. Cigarettes are taxed heavily. Do you know? I mean, are any of your parents smokers? Cigarettes, like for a pack of cigarettes, is something like $4 or $5, maybe more than that for a pack of cigarettes. Chewing tobacco, taxed heavily.
That's a
Okay.
people
Oh, another thing that's legal in some places, it's not other. Marijuana. It's legal in Colorado and Washington.
Because some people don't like
Okay. Gay marriage. Okay.
I have two questions. What is jurisdiction of federal courts?
That's what kind of cases courts can hear.
Okay. And then, how can the Supreme Court decision be changed?
Just said, how can the Supreme Court decision be overturned or changed?
Constitutional or amended.
Change the Constitution, or the court changes its mind. Another case could come up to the court.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, the Bill of Rights. The amendment process. Here's what you need to know about the amendment process. Proposed,
Ratified.
nationally ratified.
ratified,
Locally.
locally. It's important because we can change the Constitution if times change. Got it. Don't worry about the 2/3, 3/4 stuff.
Really?
Yeah, that's. I want you to know that if we're going to change the Constitution, it's not just done in Wisconsin. Who ratified? Think about this. The Constitution itself. Where was it proposed? Where was the convention?
In Virginia. Pennsylvania?
In
Philadelphia.
in Philadelphia. But then it got sent to where?
All the other states.
All the other states. So if we're going to change that, it's going to start in Washington, D.C., but then it's going to go to all the other states. All right? It's one of the great things about the Constitution. Who has the final say?
The states. The people.
Therefore, the people. All right? Grace.
Didn't the Constitution change because Washington would still kind of have slavery?
It's got to be flexible. I mean, think about it. If the amendment process wasn't there, women would not be guaranteed the right to vote. 18-year-olds wouldn't be guaranteed the right to vote. We wouldn't have had the Bill of Rights. Because the thing about the Bill of Rights and the things about women having the right to vote or whatever, even the thing about slavery, is that if they're just federal laws, they could be unconstitutional. And a federal law, they talked about this during the Civil War, in the Constitution, it says that you can't take your property can't be taken away by the federal government. Right? So no federal law could have outlawed slavery. It would have had to have been the Constitution that outlawed slavery. Bill of Rights is good. What is the Bill of Rights? Big B, big R. The first
10 amendments.
first 10 amendments to the Constitution. Why do we have it?
To
Protect our rights.
liberties,
Our freedoms.
Virginia and New York.
To
Ratify.
ratify. Okay? Hey, is that a good short answer question?
Yeah.
That's a promise.
Wait, what did they say?
5 freedoms, what are they?
No.
Religion.
Religion.
Petition.
Assembly. Press.
Speech.
Speech. RAPPS. RAPS. RAPPS is the best way I think you can remember it. RAPPS. Yes. And if you get your test, and right when you get your test, you write down RAPS on the front of it, is that good or bad? That's
Good.
smart. All right, is that cheating?
No.
No, it's smart.
Wait. Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Other rights or protections Americans have. Second Amendment, right to
Right to bear arms.
bear arms. Third Amendment, no troops. Fourth Amendment, no unlawful search and seizure. Fifth and sixth. I don't have you differentiate between the fifth and sixth necessarily on a test. You can try to memorize it, but pretty much know. Fifth are when you are accused of a crime. Then the sixth are if you go to trial. So fifth, you have the right to remain
Silent.
You have the right to no double jeopardy, and that the sixth, your trial rights: speedy trial, public trial, jury trial, impartial jury, attorney, witnesses. All right. Seventh, not on your test. Eighth Amendment, no cruel and unusual punishments. One way somebody told me to think about the Eighth Amendment to remember it is if you think 8 looks like handcuffs. If you're in handcuffs, you're getting punished. Okay. Ninth Amendment, we have more rights than listed. 10th Amendment, reserved powers. What makes all of those apply to the states?
Incorporation.
14th Amendment. Bill of Rights in school, I think we're pretty good on that.
Yeah.
Right? And then the Constitution today, this right here, I'm going to give you news headlines, and you have to apply them to. Now, there'll probably be fake headlines, but I might try to get a real one. Well, and it'll be like the headlines activity that we did in class today. Okay? So if it is Nicolay students try to put up religious structure, First Amendment, and then, but I could have Establishment Clause. Or I could have, if Obama sends troops to Western Africa.
Wouldn't that be
That's chief.
Which chief?
or no?
I'd argue it's probably more
Commander.
Commander-Chief. I would accept Chief Diplomat because it is foreign affairs. But in that case, he's not really being diplomatic. He's sending troops in. Okay? If I say Supreme Court nominee is approved by the Senate, checks and balances, or Congress using its
Reserved.
Not reserved.
Implied powers.
not dealing with law, legislative powers. Okay? It's things like that. There are, what can I tell you? Because you stayed so long, I'll give you a hint. I think it's 40, something like that. So it's bigger than the last one. I'll tell you that the short answer questions, almost all of them, you saw within the last 24 hours. or in some cases 20